See, the problem with this one is you have to have your feet together, and this is making my knees crush into each other. I have inward bending knees. This is not good. So it's now the 29th of September and basically the end of month 2. Technically still have a couple more days, but I'm taking tomorrow to fully rest and relax and do some video editing because I now have 3 channels I need to manage. Month 2 has been challenging and it's been difficult to stay consistent. I've had loads of things going on. Nearly every single day people have been asking me to do stuff with them, go out, do social things, go to events, concerts, competitions. It's been a very full-on month and it has been extremely difficult to try and fit any form of exercise in, so I haven't been able to be regular with my training. It has been whenever I've just had free time. But if this month has taught me anything, is that I really need to start saying no to people and actually putting my health and my priorities and myself first a bit more. I thought I was already doing it. Apparently I'm not doing it enough. I'm just out walking the dogs at the moment. Scotty! Thank you, laddie. Yeah, I really need to start putting myself first. I'm currently not putting myself first enough, and I have reached burnout on at least 2 occasions this month. I have been severely overworking myself. One thing I have noticed that has been hindering both my work and my training is actually my mobility. My mobility has taken a big knock, especially because I've been stuck in traffic a lot. So I've been sat down a lot more than usual. I've been sat in my car for up to 5 hours a day. My mobility has suffered, my hips have suffered, my back has suffered, my shoulders have suffered, and even though wearing barefoot shoes has helped with a lot of my hip and knee pain, it hasn't helped with my mobility. If anything, it's made me stiffer. So my plan for October is to still focus on trying to do some calisthenics once, maybe twice a week, but mainly focus on mobility training and getting my muscles and my joints a bit more usable. Good morning. How are we all today? You can't tell, I've just woke up. Today is actually the third? No, it's not. Today is actually the 1st of October and the start of month 3 of my Fit Up 35 journey. During month 2, my main focus was to simply get used to incorporating regular activity into my weekly routine. Whether or not this was once a week, twice a week, however many times I could fit it in, I basically just tried to squeeze fitness in at any opportunity. And to be fair, I didn't do too bad. I managed to squeeze it in about twice a week, with the exception being in the last week because I've been so busy. I actually ran myself to burnout and basically collapsed on Friday from exhaustion, and then I had a chill but busy day yesterday, and today is actually my very first day off in a long time. So I'm actually spending the majority of the day video editing because it's the only time I've actually had to video edit, and video editing actually de-stresses me, so it gives me a lot of peace. Now, the thing that I noticed last month was that I actually have something hindering my calisthenics progress and my fitness progress, which is my mobility. So I've been following a lot of YouTube channels recently, like Hybrid Calisthenics, Movement by David, as well as several other calisthenic channels. And one thing they all preach without fail is that your mobility and your flexibility are very important factors of calisthenics. And guess what's the one thing I've not been training? So after getting told by about 7 different calisthenics YouTube people that I need to start working on my mobility if I want to progress, I decided to give it a go. And I have actually invested in the Simplistic Mobility Method by Tom Morrison. Now, the thing with the Simplistic Mobility Method is I was intending to start it today. However, I'm exhausted and I need a break from life. Instead, I'll be starting the Simplistic Mobility program tomorrow, and that will be this month's challenge, is trying to improve my mobility. And one thing I do actually like already about the Simplistic Mobility Method is that it actually gives you progress sheets. I'm actually going to take the rest of today as a break. I'm going to finish doing some video editing, and I'm also going to just let myself have a rest in general. And then starting tomorrow, I'm going to do my tests to see where I'm up to. I'm going to read through the program guide, and then we are going to try this Simplistic Mobility Method. One of the things I actually like about it is there's no schedule, so you can just do it whenever you want, and that's the hope. I'm going to try and do it any day that I have free. So it is technically October 2nd, the first day of my Simplistic Mobility Method challenge. Second day, first day, however you want to say it. It's 2nd of October. And I'm just reading through now, and it turns out the very first part is read the information. So literally there's a before you start section, which I probably should have read yesterday, and I haven't read it. So I'm now reading through it. It does actually say here right at the start, don't get disheartened disheartened. Your first session will be your longest as you figure out where you're starting from. I've not even started my first session yet because I'm busy reading how to do the first session. And it's currently 11:30 at night, so I probably should be going to bed in a minute. So I think I'll read through the first session. There are printouts that I need to print out, which I didn't realise. And so I'm going to print those out tomorrow after work, possibly before work, depending on what time I wake up. But print those off tomorrow and do my first session tomorrow, which will be my mobility test. So yeah, my very first session is print out worksheets, get a notebook and run through the tests. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Now the thing is with the S&M program is it's not a 1 month thing. So I'm starting it off as a 1 month challenge just to try and get through the month and get my mobility at least somewhat improved to help my calisthenics training, so I can get really back into my calisthenics training this month or next month. Not quite decided yet. I have actually joined the Facebook group for SMM and a lot of people are still doing it 1, 2, 3, 4 years later. This is a long-term thing. This is not something you do in a month or 2 months or 3 months. This is a long-term gain, which is exactly the same as calisthenics. Calisthenics is a long-term game. Freediving is another one. That's something you get better with over time. It's not something you do quickly. Why am I choosing all the stuff that's going to take me a long period of time when I have no patience in the first place? Come on, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We can get through this. It's now past midnight and I should have gone to bed a long time ago. I'm still reading through the program and one of the actual things here is actually how to stay, or advice on how to stay consistent. You know you should be doing S&M and you know you'd feel better afterwards, so why do you just not want to do it today? And it actually does actually have some information on how to attempt to stay consistent. Definitely going to be reading this before I go to bed. Hello darkness, my old friend. Don't know how well this will go. Ugh. My S&M tests, my mobility tests.
50 push-ups?
No, not 50 push-ups. Right, we are on day 1 of SMN and the very first thing of the day is testing. I have my test sheet ready to go and we're now going to do the test exercises or test visual assessments. Let's see how we get on. The next test is actually the butt test, which is basically testing the strength of my glutes. And I already have pretty strong glutes, so I think I'm going to be okay on this test. See, the problem with this one is you have to have your feet together. And this is making my knees crush into each other. I have inward bending knees. This is not good. So that was really interesting. During my 90-90 test, I actually have a weakness on, I want to say, my left side. So when my left leg was at the back, I was leaning more. I couldn't sit upright. I was definitely leaning and I definitely couldn't turn very far. So I actually have a weakness on one side when it comes to the 90-90 turns. That's interesting. And there we have it, test done. I'm actually just having a quick look at my visual assessment, my first test, to actually see where I'm up to. And it's actually really annoying because with all the stuff in the background, it's hard to tell. I definitely have some hip leaning going on. My left hip seems to be higher than my right hip. That could just be the way I've ended up standing. My feet are spread pretty wide. My head seems pretty neutral. My shoulders seem quite rounded from the front. They could be neutral, I'm not sure on that one. My boobs are bursting out everywhere like they always do. Knees are collapsing inward, so that's not a good thing. They're not obviously collapsing inward, but they are twisted inward. I seem to be almost like leaning to one side as well. I don't like it. I don't like the way I look, put it that way. From the side, my head does shift forwards ever so slightly. My upper back is definitely rounded slightly. My shoulders are rounded slightly. My knees are most definitely overextended. They are right back. And I definitely have an anterior pelvic tilt. I've always had an anterior pelvic tilt, so visually, I've not got a very good score. And there isn't actually a scoring system for the visual assessment. It's just to acknowledge. So from the front, I seem okay. I don't have enough space in my box to finish this. I have a lot of issues on that one, put it that way. And there we go. There is my first set of tests done and dusted. And to be fair, I actually did okay in some of them. I've scored myself a not very great. I scored myself a 3 for my closed eyes balance, and I've put a note to say that I managed 6 seconds on my left leg and 10 seconds on my right leg with my eyes closed, which I was wobbly enough when I was doing the 30 seconds open. My butt test, I give myself a 7 on both because my glutes were very strong, very obviously activating, and I could easily activate one from the other. But again, I've always had very strong glutes, so that's never been an issue. I've only scored myself a 7 though because I feel like they could be stronger still. Standing toe touch, I did get the tips of my fingers to the floor, which technically is a 10, but I had a lot of tightness in my hamstrings and I've lowered it to a 9. Because even though I'm capable of it, my hamstrings were really tight. They were really pulling for that. The 90-90 test, I did worse than I expected. I've put a 4 for when my left leg was back and a 6 for when my right leg was back, because when my left leg was back, I couldn't even sit up straight, whereas when my right leg was back, I could sit up perfectly straight, but I couldn't twist very well. I was quite tight. The deep lunge test, I've given myself a 3 because I can get into the position, but then I can't move from that point. My elbow goes nowhere. The couch stretch, I actually did better than I expected. I've given myself a 6 for both because I could get myself up and my hands off, no problem, but I did have quite tight sensation in my hamstrings in my quads. Overhead reach, I give myself a 10 out of 10 because once my stomach and my pelvis were under, I could get my hands up perfectly fine without any wobbliness or moving from side to side, arms going out. They went up, no issues, and even without a bent back. Cross-armed overhead squats, I put 5 because I can't get past parallel. Once I get down to there, I start falling forward, I start doing this. Side plank leg lift, I give myself a 1 for both sides because I can only just get into the side plank and that hurt a lot. I say hurt, that was difficult. That was really difficult. I was really struggling, really wobbly, and I only just managed it. And I could not get my legs up at all. They were not coming off my toes. So there we have it. There is my starting point. Those are my test results. And it's now too late in the evening to actually do any exercise or do anything else. I need to technically go to bed and I still need to have a shower. Let's see where we go from here. It's currently Saturday and I've been technically doing the SMM method now for 7 days, or this is the 7th day of my challenge. As of yet, I haven't done any of the SMM exercises per se, or the mobility method exercises. I just physically haven't had the time. I've had a super busy week with all sorts going on. Barely had enough time to edit a video for my Parrot channel. I'm still in the middle of editing a video for my channel, my BSL channel. Everything's going wrong. However, even though I've not had time to do the full exercises, I have started with the 7 days of awesomeness, which is a free thing that you can get from the SMM website, and it essentially is like an introduction to the Simplistic Mobility Method. So with starting with the 7 days of awesome, day 1, you do your neck. Day 2, you learn exercises for your shoulder. Day 3, you learn a quick stretch for your hips and for your waist. I've not done day 4 or 5 yet. However, I have done the day 1 exercises, which are the neck exercises for the last 4-5 days. I've done the shoulder exercises for 2 days and I've done the waist exercises for 2 days. And I have to admit, I've already seen a massive difference in my neck. I'm not as tight in my neck. I don't feel as tense. I've also noticed that when I twist my neck and when I rotate my neck, I'm not getting like a gristly sensation, which I've had for nearly all my life. I've had this like gristling in between the bones every time you move, and that gristling seems to have gone away. My neck isn't popping or cracking as much anymore, which is really nice, and not something I was expecting only a couple of days into the mobility sessions. It's rather interesting. Currently the 12th of October. God, I was getting very angry about the fact I got the camera out as usual. So I'm on day, don't shit on me. So I'm on to day 12 of my mobility training, and I'll be honest, I've actually had an exceedingly busy week. I've quite often been out of the house at 9:30 or earlier, and I'm not getting home until 6-7 o'clock at night, partially due to overbookings, partially due to traffic, just a multitude of different reasons. And I'm just exhausted at this point. I'm getting home and I'm just collapsing from tiredness because I'm walking so much all day. But one thing I have been trying to do is I've been trying to follow the 7 Days of Awesome. I have now watched all the videos of the 7 Days of Awesome. I've been doing the neck exercises every single day. I've been doing the shoulder exercises every other day, the hip exercises every other day. I've only just actually learnt the rest of the exercises today, and I've done some of them this morning. And I have to say, I don't have any creaking in my neck anymore. Like, there's a little tiny bit of grinding, but other than that, that's it. I've lost all that gritty sensation of that gritty sensation, and the aches has all gone, which is so nice. You do some stretching. Koffle's doing some mobility stretching now. Koffle's joining in with the mobility, aren't you? Yeah, you're joining in with the fitness and stretching. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, even though I've not been able to do the actual mobility exercises drills themselves, I'm hoping to start those potentially tonight or potentially tomorrow. So even though so far in the first week I've not been able to do the actual mobility drills, I have been able to do some sort of mobility stretching, and I have noticed a difference. Don't you start with the horny hearts. So there is a notable difference, which I'm quite surprised at for such simple and easy things. It's like I wasn't expecting such a big difference so quickly. I wasn't. You just want attention. You want attention instead of the camera. That's all it is. There you go. Now you can kill it now. You happy? You happy you killed the camera? Yeah. So like I said, I am hoping to start the actual mobility training tonight, or the actual mobility training session exercises tonight. See how I get on with those. So it's now the 13th of October, 13 days into my mobility challenge, and I still haven't done a single exercise of mobility. I was really hoping. I only had one dog walk all day today, and I was dead excited thinking I can get up in the morning, I can finally do that mobility, I can do some more on Saturday, I can do even more on Sunday because I've got all weekend off. And Jason has been ill all week with COVID, and he's been so bad. He's been practically bedridden for 3 days. He's only just started feeling okay a couple of days ago, and I started feeling like crap about last night. And sure enough, I tested this morning, and I am also positive for COVID, which explains why I feel like death warmed up. So unfortunately, this is going to be another day, a whole weekend, of not even being able to start the challenge. Currently Sunday the 15th of October. I actually have COVID, which is great, because, you know, I've already been ill so much this year. Why would I not want to be even more ill? Yes, it's another day of illness in this year of illness. It's literally been a year of illness. The first illness being back in April, and then it's just been like a snowball ever since. Now, I've actually been testing positive for COVID since Friday evening, so about 2 days now, and Jason actually had COVID long before I did. He got tested positive on Monday, and he was bedridden for 3 days. It hit him really, really hard, and then I finally caught it by Friday. I say finally, I was expecting to catch it. I ended up catching it on Friday, or at least testing positive for it on Friday. Yesterday I wasn't too bad, but I was very low on energy, so I just had yesterday as a chill and a rest day, which is something I've been severely overdue. I have not been taking rest. I have not been having days off. And you just want yourself in the camera. Yeah, you just want the camera. Greedy camera girl. Greedy camera hog. Camera hog. Jason actually made me laugh. He said, it's like, oh, it's great. We finally got you to take a day off by getting you a very bad virus. And to be fair, it's not actually hit me anywhere near as badly as it hit Jason. I've not been bedridden. I've just had a very sore throat, bit of a cough, and just tiredness. Other than that, I've not been too bad. But today I actually feel somewhat human human, minus the cough and the throat. So while I have energy, finally, and motivation and determination, I'm actually going to do my first ever Simplistic Mobility Method session halfway through the month, when I should have done it like 15 days ago. I have also been watching a lot of calisthenics videos from likes of Chris Herrer and Movement by David, Hybrid Calisthenics, as well as several others, and they've actually been providing a lot of motivation for me the last week or so. And one thing that one of them mentioned that it's something I've actually ended up writing on my board is the sooner you start, the sooner you'll reach your goals. This is something I always forget is, oh, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start next week, I'll start next month. And then I always end up not starting and it being like 5 months later and still not starting. It's a really bad habit of mine. Or sometimes I'll start, do the first week and then give up. Or something will get me delayed. It's like, it's okay, I'll switch it till tomorrow. I really need to start doing discipline. Like, discipline and consistency need to be my number one priorities, and right now they're really not. Anyway, enough of me rambling. Let's get on with this simplistic mobility follow-along method. It has its own follow-along section, so I'm going to be following this video along with Jenny and Tom, and let's see where we go. Jesus Christ, that is actually a damn workout. It's about half an hour long, the whole session. Oh, good bloody God. I feel like I've been in leg day in the gym. It's like a good chunk of it, of the mobility work, is actually your hips and your legs. Oh, good Lord, that's a proper workout. That alone is a hard workout for someone who's out of it, like not used to exercise. So it's the day after my first mobility session, and thanks Scotty. As you can hear, I'm still recovering from COVID. I've only got a mild cough now, which is quite nice, and a bit of a dry throat. That's the only way I can describe it, is dry throat, which is quite nice. I'm very quickly recovering from it, far quicker than what Jason recovered from it, that's for sure. Like I said, this is the day after my first mobility session, and my legs are killing. They're not killing in the sense that you'd get from a gym session ache. They are aching when I move them a certain way. So like to stand still, I'm perfectly fine. Walking, I can definitely feel it in my thighs, hamstrings and glutes, without a doubt. I can feel it in my thighs, hamstrings and glutes. It is very, very achy. That exercise session yesterday, that mobility session, that was a workout on its own. I am back home after my first day, after my first session, and I was hoping to do a second session this afternoon or this morning. It ain't happening. My legs aren't aching, but they are aching. It's weird. It's similar to the kind of muscle ache you expect when you've had a heavy gym session, but at the same time it's a completely different kind of ache. They're not aching because they're tired or they're knackered. They're aching in a different way, and walking right now is entertaining. My body's actually slightly compensating for the pain in my legs, because it's not pain, and it's an enjoyable, tolerable ache, but it sort of sneaks up on you when you're not expecting it. Like, you're standing and you're perfectly fine, then you go to bend down and your body goes, not doing that today. The best part is the toilet's lower, so the toilet, I actually have to hold on to the radiator and then hold on to the actual basin of the toilet seat to lower myself down slowly, because I just physically can't. My muscles are just too on very healthy breakfast this morning. It's currently Wednesday the 18th of October. As well as being Wednesday the 18th of October, it is now the third day after I did my first mobility session, and my legs are finally feeling better. Finally. Took long enough. I can't actually go free dive training tonight because my cough is still pretty bad from COVID. I'm now testing negative, so I've got rid of the worst of it, but I'm just on my last dog walk of the day, so I'm now over the worst of it, but I still have the cough and I still have a bit of tightness and ache in my chest when I go to hold my breath. So just play it on the safe side. I'm not going free dive training tonight just in case. I'm going to go home and I'm going to attempt to do my second ever session of SMM training, and hopefully it's not going to kill me for 2 days like the first one did. I'm at home and I've not actually done my SMM training yet like I wanted to do. I've not even eaten, I've not done anything that I wanted to do since I got home. After having a bit of a debacle with my GoPro for quite a while now, with it turning off when it's cold and stuff, I've been debating about whether to get a dedicated vlogging camera for a while now, instead of using my phone, which the camera, because it's in a protective case, the microphone doesn't work properly, you can't always hear me properly, it gets clouded up with bits, and when the bits get trapped in the camera, so even like now is quite not great, quite blurry. So I've been considering getting a dedicated vlogging camera for a while now. I've been really in the mood to vlog again recently, so I decided to go for it and treated myself to a new vlogging camera. I'm very much looking forward to when that arrives and I can start vlogging properly again. Up. Morning, girls. Oh, it's so dark. Sunlight. Morning, Lyra. Morning, coffee. No. Yeah. Lyra, think fast before she grabs you. Morning, grumpy bum. Oh, hello,